But if we take a look at Binance's liquidation levels, we actually do have a little bit more liquidity above us than we do on BitMEX. I think most of the BitMEX shorters are wiped out. All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'm your host, Cobra Trading, back again for another video. Today, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin. I want to take a look at multiple forms of analysis, including price action, Ichimoku cloud, you know, the standard stuff, maybe do some fib retracement and things like that. And I want to focus on the higher time frames so that we can kind of get a bigger picture for where we are now, where we might be going, and most importantly, targets, right? That's what everybody wants to talk about. We're going to talk about targets. Don't you worry, we're going to get into it. So with all that said, if you are a new viewer here, thank you very much for stopping by. Make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any tutorials, analysis, or anything else that I do here on the channel for you guys. So let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, into the chart. So today I don't want to leave any stones unturned. I want to check out everything. So let's start off with the price action first. We're here looking at the weekly chart. Obviously, you guys all know what the deal is, right? Extremely bullish, right? There's been no stopping this completely Chad market. It's absolutely ridiculous right now. We were originally using our 2017 top here as resistance. We blew right through that. We never even bothered to retest that. We did have a midline up here, which we did come down and retest before we moved higher. And then we broke through our range top just yesterday. So this is going to be our weekly candle right here, and it is just looking extremely bullish. So a couple things to note here, though, just looking at price action and looking at volume, right? Two most important things is we've got our volume starting to taper off here. And as we keep pushing higher, the volume and the bullish volume keeps dropping down lower and lower. So that's not necessarily cause for concern yet, but it's definitely something to be keeping your eye on. Normally, you start seeing volume taper down like this at the end of a run, especially if you make a higher high like this and it's not getting more volume. Sometimes that's a little worrisome. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on that, and I encourage you guys to as well. If we take a look at our indicators here, you can see that on the higher time frames, it does look like our MACD is getting very extended here. So we've already had our bearish cross, and even with these 3 weeks of very, very bullish volume here, we're still crossed bearishly on our MACD. So a little bit of cause for concern. However, we're in bullish territory with this MACD. I mean, even a retracement, you know, we could dip down as low as 17,000, and I don't even think this MACD would even touch bearish territory yet. Maybe the midline, I don't even think it would touch bearish territory, even if we got some massive, like, you know, $20,000 dip or whatever, which I don't really see happening because the fundamentals for Bitcoin are a lot more different. No, I'm not going to get into fundamentals today. I keep getting comments and DMs. We don't like the fundamentals. We don't want to hear about it. We just want to talk Chad green dildos. That's totally fine. That's what we're going to talk about today. So the only thing that I am going to mention about fundamentals is that this time it actually is different because of the amount of institutions that are coming in, including Michael Saylor. And then just yesterday, we did have Elon Musk announce that Tesla invested 1.5 billion, or was it 1.6 billion? A shit ton of money into Bitcoin. So just keep in mind that the more Bitcoin is purchased like that from institutions, the more the supply decreases, which means that the higher the price will rise. That's all I will say. Let's get back to the analysis. Ever since October, since we broke above our top channel here, we have been just extremely bullish. This is not necessarily a sign that Bitcoin is going to be reversing. I think I mentioned this in my last video. That's more of a sign that the trend is extremely strong. So until I see this dip down back into normal territory, or especially break the 50 or 55 mark on the RSI, I'm not really too worried about this. This trend is very strong. It's probably going to continue. RSI is angled up right now. Not even any hint that it's going to be flipping over. Keep an eye on the volume. Keep an eye on that weekly MACD because we did have that bearish cross. So we might see some consolidation here, maybe push up to about 50K and then maybe see some consolidation. But let's take a look at our Ichimoku cloud and some of our smaller timeframes like the daily and our 4-hour chart and see if we can kind of narrow down what our possibilities are. So not really too much to get into with the Ichimoku cloud here. Everything is looking really bullish. We're above all of our EMAs. This is on Bybit, so our 200 EMA isn't here, but on the other exchanges ranges, it's below our 50 and our 100, which is really good. Our Tenkan-sen and our Kijun-sen are looking very bullish, and they're both angled upwards. Really no sign here of any kind of trend reversal. So our daily chart is looking very similar to the weekly chart. Tenkan-sen, Kijun-sen, and all of our EMAs very, very bullish. Very big green cloud below us. No sign of any cloud flipping over to red or anything like that right now. So nothing really to be worrying about on the Ichimoku cloud. All right. So in terms of our other indicators, right, we've got our RSI up here. Now, just keep in mind, we do have a little bit of bearish divergence up here. Both on our RSI as well as our MACD. Not really anything that I'm too concerned about right now. Even just seeing a decrease as little as maybe $4,000 or $5,000 for Bitcoin would immediately correct this, and then we could continue the trend. We've seen that happen before. So it's something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on and taking into account when I'm entering on lower timeframes. But in terms of these higher timeframes and how the weekly chart is looking, I'm really not that concerned about it right now. Breaking through our range top here was absolutely excellent. We did have this pennant, which everybody was talking about for the better part of January. For the most part, it didn't really end until January when we broke out of this. We broke out of it with pretty weak volume initially, and the volume started growing once we broke out of it. Bigger investors, Grayscale purchasing a lot of Bitcoin, Elon Musk purchasing a lot of Bitcoin and stuff like that. Premiums going up, more volume started coming into the market, started stirring new investors, retail investors and stuff like that. And price has been going up. We broke through this range top here. So everybody keeps asking me, what am I expecting in terms of upside, right? Like where am I going to be calling a top, right? Well, I'm not going to be calling a top until I personally have very definitive price action and indicators flipping over for me to be able to actually call a top. Okay. I'm not going to be like, oh, the top is 50K when we haven't even touched 50K yet. Right. But one way that you can do that, and I explained this in one of my other videos. I'll go ahead and link that in the top right hand or left hand side of the screen for you guys, so that you can check out my scalping fib retracement video. And this is pretty much how that works. So for those of you that don't know, come over here to this third icon, click the little arrow, and then you come down to your trend-based fib extension tool. So from our last really major swing low, which was down here at about 16,200, up to our swing high that we just broke through the range top at 42,200, and then projecting that off of our most recent swing low, which was this midline of our general range here. This is what we got right now. So we're kind of staggering right now in this golden pocket, right? So our price action is sitting right perfectly in this golden pocket between 618 and 70%. So normally when you see a really strong candle like this, if it completely blows through the golden pocket, that is extremely bullish. Now, right now, we're kind of staggering around in here just a little bit. I would really like to see some daily closes above our 70% levels to see this trend continue, and maybe do a 1-to-1 extension, or potentially even further and come up and actually test our 1618 extension. That would be all the way up at about $70,000. So quite a price increase from now, about $20,000 or so, $25,000. Now, why does this work? And I'll just give you a quick example. Okay. So from our major swing low down here up to the end of this first humongous wave that we had projected against our next swing low, what did we end up having happen here? So right now, what this tells me in terms of Elliott wave theory is that this was potentially a completed wave 3. And this pennant here, triangle, is pretty typical of a wave 4. And it was also perfectly the 3618 extension, which is exactly where we found our resistance. So normally wave 3 is 3.618 of wave 1. That's exactly what this is. So that pretty much tells me that it is extremely possible here that this is going to be our final wave up. And we could be seeing, like I mentioned, somewhere up here as high as $70,000, maybe even beyond. If this wave 3 was not our extended wave and we get like a really extended wave 5, that would bring us up well over $125,000. But let's take the levels as they come, okay? So in terms of upside, that's what I'm going to be first expecting. I would like to see a close above $47,140. And after that, I would like to see a push higher after some consolidation up to about 70K. And then we'll reevaluate on these higher timeframes, of course. All right, so this is our liquidations on BitMEX. And as you can see, there is just no shorts above us. There's nothing. There's nothing up here. No one is trying to short this anymore. The bears are basically gone. The only people that are going to be shorting this are people that are trying to hop on the trend or try and get on the trend ahead of time. So this is, that provides less fuel for bulls to propel the price up higher. That means that it's just going to have to be natural bullish volume, not bullish volume with the assistance of a whole bunch of short liquidations and stuff like that. So we can see here that that's playing out a little bit. We are seeing the price retrace a little bit. There's very few shorts above us, not very major liquidity above us. The majority of the liquidity is longs, and that tells me that the longs are pretty offsides here. So if we do see a retrace or something and my algo does flip over bearishly, I'm hoping that that does happen before a potential to see all this liquidity get swept down here, which we have seen before. We've seen giant moves like that in Bitcoin where longs are really offsides after an almost parabolic move where we go full vertical and then retrace almost the entire way from where we came and snag all that liquidity that's below us. So it's possible. We've seen that happen before. Am I saying that that's going to happen? No, it really just depends. Supply and demand, right? So we just kind of have to take it as it comes and hope that, a whole bunch of market makers aren't hopping on the price and just completely destroying it. So right now, top trader long accounts are at 71%. That is very, very high on Binance. It hasn't really been ticking up or down for any of the other exchanges. But if we take a look at Binance's liquidation levels, we actually do have a little bit more liquidity above us than we do on BitMEX. I think most of the BitMEX shorters are wiped out. So our first big liquidation here is going to be for 77.42 million at 47,245. And then just above that, we have a 100x short for 46.3 million at 47,341. So those are pretty much the two levels that I'm going to be watching. Outside of that, there's going to be a huge gap all the way up to 47.6. So unless we see some massive bullish momentum coming into the market for the rest of this week, I don't really anticipate very many of these shorts getting swept. It might be the kind of thing, since there aren't very big long positions directly below us to get liquidated right now, we might just see a really choppy end to the week here with price action just kind of fluctuating while bidders and askers are kind of figuring out which side they're more comfortable being on of the market, pretty much. So let's take a look at the Bybit liquidation levels. Again, Bybit, a lot lower liquidity than Binance, which is expected. Again, there's very little liquidity below us in the immediate price range. The first long order that we have is at 45,400. So that's pretty deep down there. That's already like a $2,000 price drop that would have to happen just to liquidate one long. And then above us, all we have is a 44.8 million at 47,200. And then we've got a 100x short for 26 million, a small one at 47,300. So again, there's lots of gaps in the price action up here. There aren't very too many bears left in the market to trying to be short this. So the only reason why I would be seeing to short this is if you start seeing a whole bunch of those really big top traders, like the top trader long accounts, or you start seeing the global long accounts, you start seeing that number decrease very rapidly. That means that the longs are exiting their positions. They're starting to sell and they're potentially flipping the other direction. So that would be noticed to me to be taking a really solid look at my algorithm, as well as the regular price action to potentially be opening up a short position. But as of right now, this is looking completely fine to me.
But Cobra, you keep talking about opportunities for the downside, but you haven't talked about targets for that yet.
Hold on. I'm getting there. Relax. All right, so last thing before I end the video, right? Targets to the downside. I know that you guys want to know that. If there are short opportunities, where would I be targeting, right? Well, if I was to enter a short position, which I'm most certainly not right now until I get a lot more confirmation, this would be a little more complicated since this is new territory that we've never been in before. This is a little more difficult to be projecting here. So I would probably feel more comfortable doing this off of the daily trend. Okay, so let's take this top down to our swing low and say that this is our swing top. Our golden pocket is right around $40,000. So yeah, in between our 0.5 and our 618, that's normally the sweet spot between the golden pocket and the 0.5 of where price action likes to retrace to. That's happened multiple times in Bitcoin's history on larger time frame retracements. So that's probably where my target would be. I would be targeting first this range top, and then if that broke down, I would probably just let the position run, right? You always want to let runners, you always want to let winners run. You always want to let the winners run, and you want to cut your losses early, right? That's basically the name of the game here. Preserve your capital, take as much money from the market as possible. So that would be my first target here, is the range top. It looks like right now on the daily chart, we are forming just kind of like a spinning top right now. So obviously we need more information. We need the daily candle to close, maybe 1 or 2 candles to kind of get a clearer picture of where the price action wants to be heading. But in general, for any retrace, that would definitely be my first target, is a retest, a bullish retest of this range top here, which, you know, makes perfect sense. All right, guys, sorry about that. I know that it was a little bit of a longer video, but I wanted to go into as much detail as I could with this so that I can give you guys the most clear possibilities of what's going to be happening based on fib retracements and price action, combined with a few basic indicators and stuff like that. So as I mentioned before, make sure that you check out the other videos on the channel if you're interested about how that algorithm works, or if you're interested about the fib trend-based fib extension tool and stuff like that. I've got tutorials on that and explanations on the entire algorithm and all of that good stuff. So make sure that you check those videos out. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're a new viewer, make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these analysis videos, tutorials, or any of that good stuff. So make sure that you check out all the links below in the description. I do put these videos out for my Telegram viewers before they hit the public on Twitter and all that good stuff. Plus, there's some bonuses in there. Sometimes I give out scalp calls and stuff in there as well. Again, not financial advice. However, I just kind of like to give you guys some trade ideas, and it's a place for me to be posting the majority of my charts and stuff like that. So make sure you check all that stuff out. And until next time, happy trading.